The Zion Williamson situation just got even worse. I mean, at first we thought that he may have ended up returning this season. As a result of this recent information, he might not even be able to play until the beginning of next year. Now, before we get to the content, I wanted to tell you guys something that is a little sensitive to me and very personal. A lot of you guys know about my podcast, the Laced Up Podcast, featuring myself, Get Like Coop, and Mike Korzemba. Well, a couple days ago, we got together, and after a long phone call with each other, we all decided to disband the podcast. This isn't because we didn't like each other, because we are really good friends and we are very supportive of one another. As a matter of fact, we all agreed that this venture was worth it just so we could build the friendship that we did. Mike Korzemba told me about what he wanted to do with his career and what he would be able to do if he had the additional time freed up. I then told him that I was kind of thinking about some other interests that I had that pertain outside of basketball that I would want to pursue, and Get Like Coop has his own things in his career that he wants to pursue as well. Ultimately, we're all very good friends. I had a blast for the year that we did it, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys that supported. And hopefully the way our career takes us leads us down a road where we're all doing work together again. Maybe we meet up for some games, maybe we collab together, because the line is definitely open for that. But for now, just in terms of what makes sense for all of our careers, we just couldn't continue with the podcast anymore. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? New Orleans Pelicans fans are, I want to say they're down a little bad in the sense that I saw a report that I would just rather not see if I was a fan of any team, and that's the fact that the New Orleans Pelicans wanted to pair Zion Williamson with John Morant. According to Christian Clark, the Pelicans were intrigued by the possibility of pairing AAU teammates Williamson and Morant together in 2019. They had the number 1 pick and the number 4 pick entering that draft. They offered the Grizzlies multiple packages that included the number 4 overall pick, and all of their offers were rebuffed. The only thing that I'm thinking in regards to this is I wonder if they would have offered something like the number 4 overall pick and Brandon Ingram, and if the Grizzlies turned that down. That's a bit of an overpay for a prospect that you don't know how good he's going to be, but I would like to know what kind of packages were involved in these offers, because if you're the Memphis Grizzlies and you get the number 4 overall pick and Brandon Ingram offered to you, which I doubt that was the trade that they got offered, or like Lonzo Ball and the number 4 overall pick to you, is that something that you consider? I'm unsure, but I felt like this was an interesting way to start the video, because usually whenever you see these types of reports, man, these what if scenarios, they absolutely can drive you crazy. So going to reality here, Zion Williamson has been a side story throughout the entire year, primarily because about a year ago there's this report coming to us from The Athletic that stated that Zion Williamson's family members are frustrated with the New Orleans Pelicans direction. And the main takeaway from this is the fact that the New Orleans Pelicans had Zion for quite some time and they weren't really able to make much of his career so far. Now, granted, it's been very short and he hasn't been on the court very much, but up until recently, I will have to admit, I really didn't understand what direction the New Orleans Pelicans were going in. I mean, the acquisition of Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart and Brandon Ingram to pair with Zion Williamson when you traded Anthony Davis was brilliant, but then you let Lonzo Ball walk for absolutely nothing, which I didn't agree with. Ultimately, trading for CJ McCollum kind of sends a different message because the team is definitely improving and there's no denying that. Yet, I don't necessarily know if going all in just to make the play-in is worth it for the New Orleans Pelicans. It seems like they've kind of stagnated as a team in terms of where they've been over the past couple of years, but the acquisition of CJ McCollum should help with the initial problems that Zion Williamson's family has had. There is this rumor that Zion is trying to force his way to New York to play with RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, who is enjoying his time in Tom Thibodeau's doghouse currently. Now, the entire situation with Zion so far has been kind of frustrating, for lack of a better way of saying it. Originally, when we came into this season, we thought Zion Williamson is going to be good to go to play for the New Orleans Pelicans. And then David Griffin comes out of nowhere and says,
"Oh, by the way, you know that Zion Williamson guy that you're very excited about to see play this year? The absolutely electric player that showed he was worthy of the #1 overall pick after averaging 27 points per game off of 61% shooting from the field? Oh yeah, that guy has a broken foot.
So when we heard broken foot, that's a very vague term, by the way, because my brother's in podiatry school, and honestly, hopefully once he graduates, we could bring him onto the show to get his opinion on injuries. From my limited understanding from podiatry and based off of, I guess, my secondhand exposure to my little brother, there's a lot of bones in the foot that could get broken. And I guess that's where things get a little complicated here, because the latest update kind of indicates that Zion Williamson could be sidelined for even longer than past this season. So this is coming to us from Christian Clark of NOLA.com, and it states that New Orleans Pelicans forward Zion Williamson could require a second surgery on his ailing right foot. Clark reported that Williamson began feeling soreness in his foot when he started working out in December, and a second surgery to alleviate his ongoing pain is a possibility. Now, it's important to note that the Pelicans were very transparent in regards to Zion Williamson's progress throughout the entire situation. On December 16th, they said following a consultation and further evaluation with Dr. Ferkel of the Southern California Orthopedic Institute yesterday, Zion received a biological injection into the fracture site to stimulate bone healing in his right foot. Williamson will be limited to low-impact, partial weight-bearing activities for an extended period. Further updates will be given further imaging, which is anticipated to occur in 4 to 6 weeks. I remember making this video, man, and it was very exciting. I was like, okay, once you're able to start putting weight onto your foot, that means you're very close to returning. Well, the update that we got was a bit of a step back, saying that since we notified everyone on December 16th of his latest imaging, it was decided then by our medical team to dial his rehab back to only partial weight-bearing activities. He continues along that path. He also agreed that in order to put Zion in the best position to succeed, he will rehab away from the team at this time so he can focus on the task at hand. Now, I feel like people think that rehabilitation is this thing where everyone is doing their exercises, where everyone is practicing and you're still hanging out with the team, and then meanwhile you're just doing your separate rehabilitation exercises. But to be honest, it can be very demoralizing watching your teammates practice, getting ready for the next game, being able to ball, and you are not able to play basketball. And I can imagine the frustration Zion feels. It's very physically and mentally demanding of a person. So being close to family, being close to loved ones, being close to your support group is very important during this time. Now, Zion would then release a statement saying, "As you can imagine, this has been a very difficult process for me. I know there's work to be done in my recovery before I can safely return to the court, but I will continue to put in the time necessary so I can get back on the floor with my team and represent Pelicans fans in the city of New Orleans at the highest level. Basketball means everything to me, and I am thankful for the Pelicans organization and everyone who has surrounded me with love and support throughout this journey. My family, friends, teammates, coaches, staff, and fans, and everybody who has stood behind me and uplifted me when I needed it most." So that sounds like a man that is really struggling currently. And to be more empathetic towards Zion, this guy's also getting fat shamed throughout the entire process. Every single bad angle he takes, every single bad pose he does that makes him look even the slightest bit overweight. And bear in mind, he has a broken foot, so I can only imagine the amount of cardio that this guy is capable of doing. Now, according to Andrew Lopez, this is the latest we have. Zion Williamson had surgery to repair a fractured 5th metatarsal in his right foot. He had a fractured right foot that was repaired surgically. His timeline should get him back in the court in time for the regular season, and that would be our hope and our view. And we're very optimistic what that looks like. Now, before you your pants, I just want you to know that this is what David Griffin said in October, that he would not be ready for the regular season. In addition, there was no fixed timeline for his return, and that's where we currently stand. So look, man, if Zion needs a second surgery, get the damn surgery now. I mean, I think it's time to punt on this season. I even said before that if Zion Williamson has a broken foot and he is heavy compared to what he should be and what his playing weight should be, then you have a long road ahead to get this man back onto the court, back in basketball playing shape. Rehabilitating the injury in of itself has been difficult for Zion. Imagine rehabilitating the injury that has been further complicated rehabilitated, and then on top of that, having to get him into playing shape. By the time you're able to do that, it would be like 4 to 5 months from now at the very minimum, and that's just assuming that his rehabilitation goes well. So at this point, you might as well opt for the surgery, in my opinion. Make sure that this man is ready to go for next season. See what you got this season. Try to integrate CJ McCollum with Brandon Ingram and see if Jackson Hayes could further develop, because he's been having some really good games as well. Ultimately, what's the worst that happens? You miss the play-in and you get a higher draft pick, and you get to keep your draft pick in a very loaded NBA draft class. I think that's a pretty good plan if you ask me, but at this point, I don't think Zion should be rushed back to play basketball this season, and the New Orleans Pelicans should do whatever it takes to get this man into playing shape as quickly as possible. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.